Hi folks, number 2 of the video, as I said I would do. Did one on spiritual activity. This one is primarily residual energy, which will touch on spiritual activity, no doubt, and having a little look into 1 or 2 bits. Just go over what the difference is between spiritual activity, residual energy. Spiritual activity, when there is a spirit connected somewhere and you're aware of the activity that it's performing, whether it's sound, sights, both, smells, goodness knows what. But we did have a video on that. Residual energy can feel very much similar. This is where you have to learn to recognise the difference between residual and spiritual activity. Depending on what you like, one might, if you're that way inclined, might put the willies up you a little bit more than the other one. If you're not really too fond of spirits being around, then the spiritual activity is going to freak you out more than the residual energy, but only if you know what residual energy is. Now, residual energy can like I said, it can feel like activity, it can feel good, it can feel sort of indifferent, and it can feel totally freaking frightening. So in a sense, one is real, one isn't particularly that word. Residual energy is what it said. It's residual energy that if this place here has residual energy, which I've never really felt residual energy here from anyone that was here before, or spirit wise. I haven't felt residual where it's a playback. So yeah, residual energy is a lot different to spiritual. It's an atmosphere, it's a playback. It's described mostly as like a video, and I imagine like a CD if you want that. It's feelings and atmospheres and attitudes and love, hate, whatever, playing back. If you have something around you, you know yourself, you can meet someone that gives it off and you don't like it, you say, wouldn't mind if I never meet that person again. There's just something about them give off this freaking vibe. Some's body language, some's this residual energy. Same with items. This is old. It's a bing. Well, it's old. It can have its own residual energy, which it hasn't, funny enough. But at the same time, as I say, it hasn't, it will be picking up everything from here, how I am, how the place is. If it's a lovely feeling in here, it will start picking that up. If it's a flipping hate-filled place, it will pick that up. If it's pretty flipping evil, it will pick that up. And I won't necessarily feel it because it's what my place feels like. But someone else, if I put this out there, could take this and feel it. It's playing back what it's been sitting in. And like I said, so it can come in lots of different forms, from very mild to very strong. Just trying to give some examples of, there's a big hall where I live. Went visiting, looking around, expected a lot from it, which I didn't really get. And I didn't really get residual energy. I didn't get spiritual activity as such. Even though I went one Halloween time, we was going around pretty late when it was sort of darkish and all that. But it felt pretty decent place, and I'm not saying there isn't any there. But when I went back at one time in the day, have a look around, there was this one room which is there. It was there when we did this trip, but for some reason we never concentrated on it or went in. When I went round this day, the door was open and it was a little tiny room. Sort of went in like that, and then it just shifted a bit round as though it was going round something. So it's a funny little C-shaped room in a way. And there's just one big mirror in there. So I went in to have a look at this big old-fashioned mirror. As soon as I stepped in, whap, residual energy. It wasn't spiritual activity, it was residual energy. You could tell the difference, but at the same time it feels the same. If you don't know what the two are, you'd go in there and think, I'm getting flipping out of here, there's something in here. But no, it was residual energy. I'd love to go back again and go in there, especially if that mirror's not there, because I think it was just stored there, and see if that same energy is there with the mirror gone. So then I'll know if the energy came with the mirror or whether it's still there and it's that room. But it was playing back, and it was like hitting a wall in a sense. As soon as you walked in, wallop, it was thick and you were stuck in the middle of it. So much that I went back out to make sure. Went out, back to normal, stepped in, whap, straight back into it. Residual energy. And like I said, it can be beautiful to totally flipping mind-blowing, I want to freaking get out of here. The fact is, if you didn't get out of there, nothing's going to happen, because you're just in the middle of a, for the want of a better word, a video, I suppose. So yeah, with residual energy, you can feel things, and sometimes you'll see things because it will play back like a video. And a lot of time this residual energy that is playing back is why lots of people go to a certain place and they all have the same story. I see a woman there to there, or I see this, and it's always practically exactly the same. So everybody seems to be going when this, if it's a spirit, is doing exactly the same thing. And the spirit isn't going to put a show on for you as soon as you walk through the door. So well, I'm going to do exactly what I did last time, because that really makes them talk about it. It's the residual energy playing, and you will see it. And depending on when you're there is probably what part of it you'll see. But you probably find that if people are talking about exactly the same little bit of scene all the time, you're getting a playback. Last little bit about how you can see things and believe you're seeing one thing, but you're seeing something else. As far as I'm concerned, let's split the difference between Hollywood and novels and spiritual activity. One's movies and books, and they give you all sorts of palaver, and you'll go away sort of crapping yourself and think, I wish I never see anything like this. And if you see anything like it, you're going to freak out. And there's the real spiritual activity that can look weird and wonderful, but there's purposes to it, reasons as to why it looks a bit odd. And I'm not going to go into loads, but I'm just going to give you one or two ideas. You're sitting at home, you bought a new house. This isn't a new house, but it's a lovely, really old, fantastic looking house from early 1900s, 1800s or whatever, but you got the money to do it, so you buy it. And you're sitting there one night and you're reading or you're watching TV or whatever, and you look up and in walks a woman, but she walks through that wall, which in itself is bloody weird and wonderful. She comes through that wall, just walking forward, looking forward, taking no blooming notice of you, walks across the room and out that wall. And you think, crap, that's that film I bloody saw. Right, we'll look at that for one. People look at that and go, bloody hell, that is really bloody freaky. Ghosts walking in the through walls and everything. Now what we have to realise is, if you do a bit of study, sometimes you can find out, sometimes you can't. You look into the history of that building, how it was at that particular time, a little bit time, how you have it, even something that you've probably done to it. But you have to go back and realise, maybe at that time, that wall of your living room and that wall of your living room wasn't there. There was probably a door there, there was probably a door there into that one there. And all that person is doing is, when they come back to visit a building, they come back to it as it was in their time. Because it was special to them, they come back to it visiting, and they probably don't even see you, they don't even see your stuff. It probably looks exactly like it was when they came, because they'll come back and go, because it's again, it's like a spiritual time warp. So they'll see it as it was, they'll do whatever they used to do. So they'll be coming through that door, walking across the room, out that door to where they were going. To you, because there is now, since they died, somebody said, tell you what, we could make a room there, we could make a room there, we'll have a living room here, we'll build two walls and we'll block that one off, we don't need to go in that direction, you go in from the passage, we don't need that there because we've got a door here, two walls. So, walks across, looks bloody weird and wonderful to you, not to the woman, but to you it does. That wall isn't there to her, that wall isn't there to her. So she's just walking and you're freaking because she seems to be coming through bloody walls. Number two, and you can put these scenarios out there to lots of things, but I'm only going to do two. That's one. Another one, we'll say it's the same situation. She comes through the wall, or you might still have a door there, but she walks through there, but she's walking up here, so it looks like she's floating across the room mid-air, and you're going, oh bloody hell, man, I'm not only seeing the spirit of a woman coming through a wall, going through a wall, she's gliding through the bloody air towards it. Again, think back, your time, her time. She's visiting as it was. She's walking on the level that her building was. And if by any chance from that period to another the floor's been lowered, her floor's up here, she'll look like she's walking through the air. And I bet that's the same person tinging my flipping thing every time. She'll look like she's going through the air. Now, you hear these other scenarios where the building's probably had a lot done to it and the floor's been risen. So you're sitting there and she comes through that wall, gliding along, and you only see that much of her body. And you think, bloody hell, that is weird, that is freaky, that is flipping horrific, whatever. Again, what you're looking at is she's walking on a lower level and your floor is 2 or 3 foot or whatever up from her level, so she's down there. So yeah, that's just one or two little scenarios, but that's how sometimes when you see things, they look really odd, out of place, totally freaky, totally horrific, spooky, Hollywood. But you have to look into it, see. Now, nothing might have been done to that house, but then you have to look back. When was this house built? She looks a bit older than when this house was built. So what was there before this house was built? Maybe it was another house, maybe it was some big building, it could have been an inn or anything, whatever. But then again, this person's visiting and they're on their levels, they're not seeing things as you see them, there's no walls there to them, there's no floor, only the level that they was at. And I can't tell you what the place is called because I can't remember, but there is a public house in the UK somewhere, and if you find out where the Roman roads go, it's on one of them. There's a pub and there's a cellar, and the cellar's there, obviously housing the barrels for the beer and everything. People have been down to the cellar that work there and they get the jitters. Roman soldiers coming through the wall of the cellar, walking mid-air through the cellar as you would marching, a troop, whatever, out the other side the cellar. And the cellar is underground. Man, that is freaking freaky. Okay, so it was all looked into. What's happening here? What did they find? The Roman road runs along and through the pub. And from the time the Roman road was built to the time this pub was built, the ground level had gone upwards. So the Roman road was considerably lower than the modern level where the building was built. So then the pub was there, and obviously the cellar was built lower. So now they've built a pub, they've built a cellar, and the cellar just happens to have that Roman road going through the middle of it. So there you go, folks. Along comes this battalion or whatever of Roman soldiers through the cellar. Now, you have to witness that. That looks totally bloody crazy. But if you understand what I'm telling you, it's not crazy at all. They're just doing what was done at that time. And if it's, I haven't been there to feel it, but if it is residual, then that's playing back, but it's still on the level that it would have been. So don't always straight away see something and think, bloody hell. You have to think on it a bit. So it might look totally bloody weird, it might look like somebody's flipping walking through the air towards you, whatever, or sort of cut off and you only see the top part of them or whatever. But try and look into the whys and wheres that was before and round about their time, and it can make bloody sense. So I don't want to go on any further with that because it'd take too bloody long. But yeah, like I said, there's the activity. The residual energy is playback, it's feelings, it's vibrations. So on that note, I'm going to bozo off, finish my ghost chili that is bloody cold in the grave now, so yeah, so catch you later, folks.